Despite the Trump administration making concerted efforts since the beginning of the second term in January to introduce a permanent truce between Russia and Ukraine, it seems Putin's Russia is the biggest bottleneck in its foreign policy so far. There have been several flip-flops by the Kremlin as far as halting the hostilities is concerned. Reportedly, a miffed U.S. President Donald Trump has told European leaders in a private conversation that Russian President Vladimir Putin is not in favor of ending the war in Ukraine, as he believes that Moscow has an upper hand and is currently winning. This week that came on the fore when Trump wrote on Truth Social that Putin has gone absolutely crazy in not willing to halt the war. Notably, while Trump made it clear in the private telephonic conversation that Putin does not want a ceasefire, he has publicly maintained that the Russian president wants peace. Now, Trump's clandestine remark about Putin was proved right when Russian forces launched its largest aerial attack of the war so far across Ukraine, killing at least 12 people overnight on May 25th, just hours before Russia and Ukraine completed the exchange of 1,000 prisoners each, in the largest such swap since the war began 3 years ago. Trump's acknowledgement came during a phone call with several European leaders, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz.
We have to do more on diplomatic efforts, but we have to be very clear on our military support for Ukraine as well. There should be no doubt that we are willing to continue to give our support. I think that we have to undertake all efforts what we can to keep the Americans on our side. We cannot substitute or replace what the Americans still do for us in Europe, on our continent, and for our peace and freedom. We are all willing to spend more on military and on defense. That's true and necessary.
Ukraine has shown that it is ready to negotiate. It is ready for a ceasefire. Ukraine is ready for peace negotiations. Vladimir Putin is once again responding to this with an unprecedented hail of missiles and drones. And that shows that he is not ready for peace at this point in time. But we want peace, and the only way to peace is through negotiations and a willingness to negotiate. As long as this willingness does not exist on the Russian side, Ukraine can rely on us. This is a clear European message, both to Kyiv as encouragement and to Russia as a warning.
Meanwhile, Kyiv's European allies slapped new sanctions on Moscow, a day after a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin failed to produce a breakthrough on ending the 3-year-old war in Ukraine. According to a Ukrainian official, Russia yet again launched the biggest drone attack on Ukraine on the night of May 26th. This has prompted a severe criticism from President Donald Trump, who said Russian leader Vladimir Putin has gone crazy by stepping up the bombing of Ukraine just as the U.S. tries to broker peace.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
As U.S. efforts teeter on the brink of failure, a furious Trump administration is also weighing the options of imposing more sanctions on Russia. Meanwhile, the European Union is also considering cutting more than 20 banks from SWIFT, the international payment system, as well as lowering a price cap on Russian oil and banning the Nord Stream gas pipelines as part of a new sanctions package that aims to increase pressure on Moscow to end its war against Ukraine. Russia, on the other hand, is upping the ante against Western powers in its war against Ukraine, stating that it does not see the Vatican as a serious venue for peace talks with Ukraine, because the Holy City is the seat of Catholicism and is surrounded by Italy, a NATO and EU member.
It seems somewhat inelegant for Orthodox countries to address issues concerning the root causes of the conflict at a Catholic venue. I believe it would be unsuitable for the Vatican to host delegations from 2 Orthodox countries under these circumstances, because if those signing lack legitimacy, to put it mildly, successors might question the reached agreement.
Russia also pointed out that many Russian officials cannot even fly there due to Western restrictions. The Vatican has so far been silent in public on the idea raised by US President Donald Trump after a call with President Vladimir Putin that Pope Leo XIV could host talks aimed at ending Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. In Ukraine, while shredding Putin after facing the largest aerial assault, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky wrote on Telegram that only a sense of complete impunity can allow Russia to carry out such attacks and continually escalate their scale. The recent escalation by Russia appeared to thwart hopes that Trump's peace efforts might lead to a breakthrough in the near term, as Putin looks determined to capture more Ukrainian territory and inflict more damage. Russia has this month broken its record for aerial bombardments of Ukraine 3 times. As per Ukraine and military analysts, Russia is also still pushing along the roughly 1,000-kilometer front line, where it has made slow and costly progress and is assembling its forces for a summer offensive.